finally, I'm going to look at the vocals, whether we're dealing with a lead vocal, backing vocals, chop samples, or even spoken parts. I like to think of the vocals as another complete section of a record. Again, I'll start at the vocal bus and only work down into the individual elements where necessary. Let's get into it. So what have we got vocal wise? Let's take a listen. I think we've got like we've got a big sort of like that Ray vocal. Let's take a listen to that. 3 elements. That one. Okay, so vocal bus. Let's check that they're all going through the vocal bus. Okay, so let's work on those as a group rather than individual. Let's go straight to EQ. What can we do here? Let's open up the EQ and let's work within the context of the mix. Could we find a frequency we can reduce so it sort of gets a bit clearer and not clash with anything else? Let's take a look. Before we get any further, let's get into mid-side EQ, right? Let's go, instead of that one, we go mid-side. We can work, again, on the mid. The middle, let's take out some of the middle information. Let's see what we can do about the middle information. Could we make the vocals more stereo or more mono? Let's take a look. Again, we're working on the middle, so let's go. What I like about this technique is it enables me to sort of decide what frequencies are more dominant in the middle of the track. These vocals seem to work more in the middle. The synths are sort of flying around you like that. Let's put the vocals more central. Let's do a high. Let's do this one. We're going to do number 7, which is this. Let's do a boost around there. All right, see if there's any side information we can actually boost. Let's take a look. Nice. We have actually been able to get a bit more stereo information, but only in a specific frequency. So what we've done is we've boosted the sort of dominant frequency of the vocal in the middle to bring it more in middle focused, but then we've boosted the sort of ambience of the vocal to give it a little bit more width. And again, let's take a listen to it with and without. But this in the context of the mix, vocal bus. Quite dull, right? Great. And the track. Excellent. Now, it's a little loud. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to sort of start by mixing this one in. Let's start with these two. They're Let's do a little bit of panning. Maybe one slightly left, one slightly right. Only like 10 each side. Nice. Let's bring this one in. Let's Let's see what we've got on there. All right, could it do with something, I don't know, some reverb or something? Let's try that. This Ableton reverb is really nice. In fact, we'll use the hybrid reverb. Love this reverb. This is like... What does reverb do? Well, reverb gives you a 3D space rather than just left and right. We get the option to be able to move it into the back, forward, B, back and forward. Now, if you put lots of reverb on something, it naturally makes it sound like it coming from behind. Because if you think about a huge room, it gets very reverby. So it gives you the feeling that it's like at the back of the room, like that, right? The longer the reverb, the further back it goes, because it makes the room sound bigger. You get the impression of a bigger room, which gives you this sort of cavernous sound, which sounds like it's coming from behind. So the shorter the reverb, the more forward it becomes, because it makes the room sound smaller. You know, you're no longer listening to something that's right at the back of the room, you're listening to something that's more in the middle. All right, so let's play around with this reverb and see what we can get in terms of setting it into a space. Now, let me just listen on its own. It's got a big decay. You can hear that. Now the decay can come down. This is the sound of the reverb on its own, which we could EQ. This is great. Take out some of that. Take out some of that. It's the same EQ. Like there. I think that's nice to take out some of that high stuff. That's the sound of the reverb. Bring that in. Okay, let's bring this in. Now there's some frequencies in here I don't like. It's a bit like nasally. So let's see if we can do that again. Let's see if we can find, if I narrow this, let's see if I can find that. There, look, so taking that very honky sound out. I could only identify it by boosting it and seeing where it was and then bringing it down. And then rebalance, turn it up a little bit. More reverb. Look, the more reverb you have, the sort of more reverb focused, the more it goes into the back of the room. So we don't want too much of that. In this instance, we don't want it too far forward either. It's nice to hear it sounding coming from behind a bit. We've now worked through the entire mix using the same top-down approach. Instead of immediately reaching for plugins on individual channels, we started with the bigger picture and gradually worked down into the details. For me, that means fewer plugins, faster decisions, better perspective, and a more cohesive mix. Top-down mixing isn't a set of rules. It's simply a way of making the biggest decisions first and only fixing the smaller things when they actually need fixing. The idea here is if you have the sound choice, if you've got the right sound choice, then those sounds are going to work. They only need to be massaged together to work with each other. And that's what we're doing here. As usual, please leave me some comments, or if there are any questions you've got, please fire away. I actually really love to see the comments. A lot of you have been leaving comments and let me know what you think of the mix, of the videos. Of course, if there's any other videos you'd like me to focus on, do let me know. This is your opportunity to say what you want to say about these videos and give me some feedback. I'm open to it. I can take it. I'm a big boy. All right. See you in the next video.